Welcome
Welcome
to Sleep Drunk,
to Sleep Drunk, where we always ensure we
eat ass,
smoke grass,
and sled fast.
sled gang.
We out here. So, Alex, how have you been this fine day? How are you this fine day? Or I guess
I'm pretty good.
day for you. Yeah, see, I'm very hot.
It's my first full day off in a while, so.
Oh, wow, really? Nice. See, I'm very hot because New Delhi is in the middle of a disgusting heat wave, which I'll talk about more during Discussion Avenue.
Glad you got that self-confidence.
Yeah. Also, before I just explain what we're getting into this episode, just a quick reminder, share the show. It really helps. Rate us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe on YouTube, all that stuff. But yeah, so today we're going to be talking about a few different things. We're going to be talking about WWDC, Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference. We're going to be taking a stroll down Discussion Avenue. And lastly, we're going to talk about how we're about to die.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's a bucket list segment. It's a bucket list segment.
It's a little misleading.
That's sort of the title. We're gonna f***ing die. That's the title. I'm putting in the show notes right now.
It's not wrong, yeah. So
Censor that.
I guess we're starting off with WWDC.
Yeah. So, Alex, I know you're not a big Apple person. You're not really part of the Apple Observer community, as they call it, right?
Previously, I was. I used to be a big Apple fanboy.
Oh, really?
I used to exclusively own Macs, and then I realized that I was wasting my money.
That's fair. And I feel like, just opinions aside, I just feel like Macs are very much, like, it's a personal thing, and I feel like they work really well for some people and really badly for most other people. I'm not going to
trash them because they definitely have their market niche, but they're not for me.
Yeah. And so I guess, talking WWDC, there's a few different things I want to hit on. Because for those who don't know, I wouldn't say I'm a full-on Apple person, but I do use them. I use a lot of their products. I have a Mac, I have a iPhone. Like, I don't have an Apple Watch or AirPods, but, like, that is kind of what I do. Not gonna lie, I've been considering getting them, like, new wireless charging ones. They seem really nice. Like, they are the best wireless. No, here's the thing: they are the best wireless earbuds for an iPhone. For any other phone,
this recording is entitled just_don't.wave.
No, but actually, though, honestly, like, from a purely objective perspective, like memes and stigmas aside, AirPods are probably the best wireless earbuds you can get for an iPhone because of the number of optimizations they have for it. Things like how they pair, like the integration with, like, I mean, even when you see like other integrations, the volume integration, like the way you can like pull it out and it automatically pauses it. There's a bunch of really nice stuff about it. And also, I'll talk about this later in the iOS bit. But there's actually they've had another really good feature for it. But
then you're the guy with the AirPods.
Yeah, exactly.
On.
I know that is the thing. Like that, there is meme stigma around it. But actually, that's a good segment to the iOS updates. One of the first things they added was audio sharing. So let's say, as an example, me and my brother are using AirPods, and I'm watching something on my phone. I can like instantly transmit that audio to his set, and so we can listen to the same thing on separate headphones, like doing a really seamless pairing method. It's like you just like tap your phones together. So like that, yeah, they've had so the iOS updates actually.
Then you're not the kids on the bus with one of those stupid like dollar store headphone splitters.
Yep. Why? It's nasty. It's don't. Like, yeah. So that's a nice feature. And also, finally, system-wide dark mode is happening. It's coming to iOS. We're getting a system-wide dark mode, and I am so happy. I believe Android Q is going to have it, right? I think that's when they're implementing system-wide.
I don't know. I just know that Android's had like sort of stuff like that since Root was invented, which is like version 1. So,
but I mean, like, it's like a full integrated system-wide dark mode.
And
like,
also developers,
so
like,
good.
depending on the developer, not the developer, the manufacturer.
Can't even put one.
You've
but, like,
just been able to do that all along. Like in LG phones, you can just choose a black theme if you want. Okay. And then I think Samsung has always had that. It just depends.
Yeah. But like it's not like a Android specific thing. It's a manufacturer specific thing.
Yes.
It's
but
not
if
like
you have root,
it's not stock, right? Yeah, of course. But yeah, so we're getting system-wide dark mode. Let me see. I forgot a bunch of the updates I had in mind.
it's kind of like filing my nails right now.
There. You want to put that up to the microphone? Get a bit of ASMR going.
Let me find a good one.
God damn it! I'm just gonna keep going and ignore the sensual. No, I can't.
Oh.
Well,
maybe I'll amplify it in post.
Well, okay. All right. I'll make. I hope you do. So they're in system-wide dark mode. Another thing they're doing is they're getting a lot of performance improvements. We're getting, I believe, 30% faster unlock, smaller app packages, and faster app opening. And I was watching MKBHD, like I think the single greatest tech YouTuber out there.
Chips.
he's the man. But like so I'm just I mean, yeah, actually no, Apple doesn't usually have their own chips. What am I talking about? But the Apple chips are not bad. They work fine.
They're not bad.
Yeah, but
Qualcomm's better.
Because they have scale. But I'm surprised them just make a partnership. That's beside the point.
Violated a Qualcomm patent.
It's beside the point. But so they are. Well, I didn't catch what you said.
I said they violated a Qualcomm patent.
Did they?
Yes.
Oh, I'll have to look into that. I didn't know that. Well, so I was gonna say, I lost my train of thought. God damn it. Well, iOS side, there's more stuff for iOS 13, but I think that's the main stuff is the dark mode, audio sharing. They're getting like system-wide improvements. Also, they're fixing the fucking volume box that's been on iOS, like one of the banes of my existence. It's like when you try to increase the volume, it's this huge ass box in the middle. So make it like a little slider in the corner, which is really nice. I like that. Also, like
Android's always had.
Yeah. Stuff like Memoji, stuff like that. Like they're improving that. I don't really care about that. So here's the thing. The iOS stuff isn't that big a deal for me. Like iOS 13 is nice, but the stuff where I think you'll find interesting is, first off, they updated Marzipan, which we talked about in the last episode, the idea of like cross-platform development. The official name is Catalyst. Like that is the like not secret project name. And they're integrating it with a new iPad operating system. So they're moving the iPad off iOS and giving it its own operating system, which looks quite promising and is a lot more geared towards productivity, which I think is a good move because
that is a good move because I feel like the iPad has always been capable of more.
Yeah. And honestly, people who use iPads are either using it as a dedicated media device, like kids, or they're using it for things like Procreate, for editing stuff on the go. Like if it's to Cortex, the multi-pad lifestyle, like people use them for like writing. And I have my mom set up with one where it's functionally a laptop replacement. Yeah, so the iPad OS is formatted much more like a full like computer operating system. It's still relatively familiar, like from what I've like heard, from what I've seen of it. But like they've changed the file architecture. They've changed how you view files. They've added like split screen applications. So it's like you can have two notes windows open at the same time. You can have two like docs windows open at the same time. So you can like have a reference item and then the item you're actually working on. So like before you could split screen two apps. Like let's say I want to have Excel and Word open. I could have that. But now they're letting you have two tabs of Word, which I think is really nice.
Don't you mean Pages and Numbers?
No, Word. There's a Word app. Like
no, I know.
Excel. Pages is disgusting. Numbers is worse. Like
it is.
Pages I can stomach. Numbers is awful. Like if I have to use Pages, I can use it. I can't use Numbers. I hate Numbers.
I feel like Pages is less powerful than Google Docs.
Oh yeah, it is. The native Apple productivity apps are bad.
Google Sheets.
Yeah, no, the native Apple productivity apps are bad. And so I think also for some other stuff, what I'll do is in the show notes we'll put a link to the CNET recap that they made. That goes really well in detail. It's like WWDC in 13 minutes. So that'll be, if you want a very detailed look, go to that one. But there's one thing I want to talk about with you, which I know you'll have some opinions on. The new Mac Pro, the cheese grater, it's back. And before I get into this, I want to preface this by saying that the Mac Pro is not a consumer grade computer. This is not something you buy for yourself. This is something you buy for a business. This is something like Disney would buy for their animators, although I think Disney uses a custom Linux architecture, I think. But this is something that it's not meant for the average person. So just keep this in mind, okay? So the specs are, it has a new Intel Xeon processor that you can get from between 8 to 28 cores. It can have up to 1.5 terabytes of RAM.
Wait, what?
1.5 terabytes of random access memory.
Seems a little excessive.
It goes very, very much insane. It gets better. It can have between 1 to 4 AMD Pro Vega 2s, which is a graphics card that I don't think has actually been formally announced by AMD yet. But you can have 4 GPUs. It has 8 PCI slots, 4 full, 4 half.
Was Apple just kind of like bullying them into releasing it?
Well, no, I think they just haven't announced it. Like it exists, but they just haven't announced it. But it has up to 4 terabytes of SSD, and has a 1400 watt power supply. It is a beefy computer. And also they have a new display that they've made, which looks really good. It's a 6K, I think the XDR display. It has $1,000 stand. That's a meme. I don't support that. That's stupid. Like, that is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. The stand is ridiculous. The monitor I've heard looks really good. I've heard the monitor is fantastic. Stand's a bit ridiculous.
Isn't it like $4,000 or $5,000 itself?
Yeah, the monitor. Okay. So, if you were to get a fully spec'd out Mac Pro with everything, like with the monitor and the stand, it would cost you well over $50,000. Which is why I'm saying this is not a consumer computer. This is something that a company would buy and write off in their expenses. And also,
see, but like, I feel like as great as this computer might be, even for an enterprise application, I feel like it's just a better choice to go with something else.
Here's the thing, though. Here's another thing, though. You don't have. It's also modular, so like you can upgrade it like a regular PC.
Yeah,
like, you can swap out
regular
whatever you
PCs
want. You can
modular.
Change things as you need. And so if you need to use Mac OS and you need that kind of power, because like lots of people use things like Final Cut, Logic, etc. I think especially like Logic, because
most video editors just use the Adobe suite, I believe. But
yeah, I know. But for people who do, like, I know there's a lot of prominent people that do use Final Cut, and Final Cut's nice. I like it. I really like the UI.
It's okay.
And also, to quote you, Adobe software is terrible. And yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
you dislike Adobe.
There
this is a known
are
fact.
Certain reasons which apply to both of us, for which might explain why, and I'm not certain that it does, but it could, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
I'm aware. But like, regardless.
And also, I feel like the cheese grater is better than the trash can. But
yes, no, the cheese grater is miles better. The trash can looks terrible. The cheese grater, so much better. So much better. Like, cheese grater is great. But yeah, like, I find that computer absolutely ridiculous. Like, 1.5 terabytes of RAM. It's just an absurd amount.
But $50,000.
Yeah, no, that's why I think most people aren't going to buy it fully spec'd out. They'll buy a mid-range or like low-end model and upgrade as they need to. Because I think fully maxed out, they had it editing quite flawlessly. I think 4 separate monitors of 8K video, ProRes, RAW, with effects. It was handling it just easily. Okay. No problem. Like, I think buying it fully spec'd out, unless you're like NASA, is overkill.
Would it be possible? No, because then Apple wouldn't support that. I was about to say, would it be possible to do sort of like the Linus approach, where you have almost like an 80s style mainframe style computing bit, where you would actually have 4 users on the main workstation all editing or something, but Apple wouldn't support VMware or whatever software that they use to do that?
I think I remember hearing something about that. I have to go and check, but they might support something like that. Because they've been making...
It's like a BIOS level thing, and then you'd have to put Apple's
you're right.
OS on all of those virtual machines.
I mean, you could also just kind of like support that. Swap out the OS, but at that point, why get a Mac? But yeah.
But then you couldn't put then you could put Mac OS on the virtual machines.
Yeah. Fair. I bet there's a way you could probably work around whatever, but I'm not. That's not my field of expertise. So I'll just take your word on it. But that is
also
just
very unrelated. But
yeah. But also, I feel like this is very much like they're saying this is going to be the only Mac Pro for a while. Like, this is meant to last for the next 5-10 years. Like, this model. Because
there's a plus, longevity.
Yeah. This is
Apple
like
hasn't
not
always been great with that.
Yeah,
it looks like they're trying.
They haven't. Oh, this is actually interesting video I saw a while by Polymatter. Like, they're talking about how Apple's biggest competitor is their past self. Like, the reason, so Apple's biggest revenue is the iPhone. That's just undisputed. And the reason that iPhone sales have gone down comparatively is because the old iPhones are fine and people can't be bothered to upgrade.
And they have headphone jacks.
Honestly, I don't miss the headphone jack that much.
I do. I don't have an iPhone. I have a Pixel too.
Yeah, and you have a USB-C.
I miss the headphone jack a lot, honestly.
Here's the thing. It's like, I feel
always, it's just very inconvenient, and it doesn't happen every day. It happens every week or 2 weeks. But that one moment every week or 2 weeks, when you're in an environment where your only option is a headphone jack, you're screwed.
Yeah, that's true. And I've just taken lengths to I always carry a pair of wireless headphones on me. I have the Anker Soundcore Spirits.
Yeah, but what about my brother's truck's car stereo that doesn't have Bluetooth?
Yeah, I think once again, I think it's just I have a more Bluetooth enabled life, and so that's just my environment, and I've been fine with it. It's given me issues every now and then. It has been a pain, but I think I've adjusted relatively well, and I feel like the industry is going wireless. That's just the way everything is trending, and so I don't I think they did it a little bit early, but then again, lots of people are doing it now. The Pixel's done it. Galaxy hasn't done it yet. I think have the new LG phones done it?
I don't know. I don't follow this kind of stuff anymore.
Well, that's where the industry's trending, and so like I know like Huawei phones do it now, but I mean here you can't get those. No, you cannot. Those are not phones you can get. But yeah, that's not something I miss that much.
You could relatively easily. You just buy them not from Huawei, and then
you have to buy them secondhand.
They're just gonna be terrible after the 90-day agreement thing.
Yes. And I think even afterwards, like I mean, it's not like they're gonna release a bunch of updates on the 90th day. I give it like a half year.
It's just that things are going to stop working on the 90th day because they can't work with American companies anymore.
So like they're canceling services too.
Well, Huawei's going to have to come up with their own app store and stuff like that.
Right. So you have to download all the apps you'd ever want.
And then nobody's going to want to use the Huawei app store, so that could really hurt them as a company. I
mean, what if
they'll try.
Couldn't you run a launcher? Or is it like a firmware thing? Like, let's say like I just put like a launcher on a Huawei phone. Would I be able to use the Google Play Store?
Not a launcher thing. It's like you'd have to probably root your phone and put another version of Android on it.
Okay.
And then put GApps or something on it. I don't know, honestly. Like, that's just what I assume. Yeah. For all I know, everything would continue to work as usual. It's just that they can't do it in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know that much. I mean, that could be a later segment. That is segment potential.
But I saw a video on this, and I don't have any, like, actual sources to back this up, but, like, it's... true. They can't participate in the Wi-Fi consortium. Like, they can follow the rules, but they can't help make the rules. So that's a little funny.
I assume that would be an international thing? Because
no, it's an American thing.
That's interesting.
All right. So now we're going to torrent the movie of chat from the private tracker of debate from our apartment on Discussion Avenue. Yeet. So
yeah, all right. So my week has been, all things considered, pretty chill. Ramadan has come and gone. We had Eid, which is one of two Eids, which is like the like the big Muslim holiday. Sort of Eid means festival, so it's like
you could be a sick Muslim rapper, dude. Like, have Christian rock and shit.
Those exist.
Ramadan,
Muslim hip hop exists.
Dude.
I mean, actually, a lot of early hip hop artists were like Muslim because of like the issue of Islam and that like whole civil movement. So like in earlier hip hop, there's a lot of reference to like Islamic stuff. It's interesting, but yeah. So Eid was interesting. Normally what we do is we just when we're in the States, we go to it's a hotel, but like a Bangladeshi like. I guess congregation, that's not really the right term, but like a group of Bangladeshi Muslims, like they have like, there's like a community imam, and so we just go there, we'll pray, he'll give us some like nice little speech, and we'll be on our merry way and like see people. But this is I think the first time we've done Eid in India, because most of the time we're in the States, like around that time of year. And so I actually slept through and missed the prayer, which kind of annoyed me. But my dad went and said the weather was awful because of this disgusting heat wave. Like for context, for the Fahrenheit, it's been in the 110s. Celsius, that's mid 40s, like 44 to 46. It's awful. It's so hot. Like I walked outside the other day, like I was like stepping out from work to go get lunch, and like there's this gust of wind, and it felt like I was being hit by a giant hairdryer. It's just this hot, dry air because the rain has come late this year.
This is dry. What would you rather it be humid?
I mean, here's the thing: when it's humid, it's cooler, and that means my AC works better.
No.
Here's the thing. Like I'm talking like it feels here at least. Because of the wind and the weather system that comes through, it feels like the objective temperature goes down. It feels worse, but like numbers wise, it is less hot. And since I'm inside, that does matter. Because like that's just a matter of like heat moving it through windows. Because I have very large windows in my home for some reason. But yeah, so what we did instead of like just going about and like visiting people was my mom decided we do some charity stuff this time. So she cooked up a bunch of food and we went to go distribute it at a local slum, which was an experience.
Yeah, I would imagine. I've done something similar.
Here's the thing,
usually
though,
interesting.
We've done this before, like when we lived in Ethiopia, we did this, and people would like form a line and they just like come politely take their stuff and then get out of the way. It was a fucking riot. It was like we had to close our car. Like the way I had set up was that like we have an SUV, and so we had the backup, and then like the food was like in the back, and my mom was plating it, and then me and brother were like preparing little bags with like a bottle of water and some sweets, and like passing those as the plates were passed. And it was like me, my parents, and my driver. And so like my dad and my driver had to form a physical barrier. People were trying to reach into the car to grab stuff. It was like a scene from I guess like I haven't seen like The Walking Dead, like some of the trailers from The Walking Dead, but people are just kind of like surging for stuff, trying to grab things, and I don't blame them because like in a way
I get what you're saying, but that can be misinterpreted.
yeah, you're right. The point is, it was a huge mess, and honestly, like while it sucked ass, I don't blame them because in a lot of cases, people will say they have enough for everyone, but really don't, and so people are just trying to get what they can. And also, all the fat, old, healthy people just kind of like butt in front of the kids, and like they clearly didn't need food. They were well fed, but they got some anyway because they wouldn't get out of the way.
They just have learned the tricks of the trade, dude.
Yep. And so then after that, we went to a leprosy clinic and gave us our food there. We had to close our car like 3 times to get everyone to calm down because they just wouldn't form lines. It was insane. But I think in the end it was good. Good deed. We fed a bunch of people. Makes me feel good inside. Other than that, I went to the doctor's office with my dad yesterday during my lunch break. And an interesting thing happened. So my dad's been seeing an orthopedic surgeon. He's been having some issues with like one of his legs. And they ran a full suite of tests, right? And they found that his cholesterol was kind of high. And my dad has a history of high cholesterol, but a lot of the medications, basically all of them, give him really bad side effects. So he's been managing with like diet and exercise, but like since coming here, it's been a little bit harder. And so he tells the doctor, it was like the doctor and his assistant, right? And this is also a pretty like high level doctor. Like he has operated on presidents. Like this is not some random doctor. This dude has some notoriety, right? He's a known man. Has a reputation as a very good doctor. And so he has an assistant with him, like I think he's an apprentice. This man also has it's at least an MBBS, which is like an Indian doctor degree, so it's similar to like an MD degree. And so my dad states, okay, these cholesterol medications do not work with me. They work, they give me really bad side effects, I don't like it. And so the assistant nods his head and he starts writing out a prescription, right? My dad looks at the prescription. It's atorvastatin, that's the like generic name, and it is one of the ones that reacts the worst with him. So my dad says, I can't take this medication, I have side effects. And the man says, no, you have high cholesterol, you have to take this medication, it's not good. He's like, no, I have very bad side effects, I cannot take this medication. And he replies, no, you have a heart attack, you have to be safe, take medication, no side effects. And my dad just has this back and forth with this guy that clearly has no idea what he's doing. Like, he didn't know the generic name for the medication, but he knew the brand name, which is just wrong, frankly. Like, as a doctor, you should know the generic name of medication because most people buy generics.
Especially if you're prescribing it.
Yes, exactly. If you're prescribing it, you should know the generic name. So, like, he just had this back and forth, and finally my dad just took the prescription. I don't think he's going to fill it because, like, he can't take that medication. So he just took it, and, like, we left. And just, like, that dude was just a dumbass, and I have no idea how he got to that position. Because this is a pretty, like, notorious, like, I guess not notorious is the wrong word, but, like, a pretty well-known famous doctor. Like, he is not just some random guy. He has some standards. He's a good doctor. Like when I talk with him, like just this is generally a metric for better or worse in India. It's like he has very, very clean, eloquent English, which shows he's gone through a lot of education. Great guy. It's just that he's old, so he's taking an apprentice, so he can like pass on his skills because he's quite old now. But yeah, that was interesting. And so I spent the entirety of my lunch break in the doctor's office. Then I went to a Subway where this dude just kind of like yelled from behind me, "Yo, can I get some chicken strips?" in Hindi. And like, dude, just wait in line. Subway. like there's clearly a line. He's like, I want chicken strips. I'm like,
he wants his chicken strips, dude.
The chicken strips, I swear to God.
Should have corrected him and said tendies.
Oh no, it's like a weird like. I don't think chicken strips is the right name, but it's like an odd like chicken breast sort of that you can get on as like a sandwich, as part of the sandwich, because Indian Subway's different. But yeah, that was entertaining. And then my last bit of an update, something I think quite near and dear to my heart. So I believe it was yesterday, the team at Bungie, a very famous game studio, released some information regarding Destiny 2, which is a game that means a lot to me. Like, I've been following it since before its initial release. It's been out for 5 years. I've played every expansion, and I've had some, like, just the most fun, best moments with my friends ever in that game. And it's been in kind of a rough spot since Destiny 2 launched. The first year of Destiny 2 was really bad, and people hated it, and rightly so. And they finally so originally it was a deal between Bungie, which is a studio. They made like Halo, for context, if you're familiar with that. They made a deal with Activision for publishing, and Activision's a terrible company. They're awful. They're like, hey, what if we take your game and take out half the content, make people pay for it, and add loot boxes. That's basically what they did. And so they finally severed their contract. They finally finished their contract with Bungie. It was a 5-year contract. And so they've gone on to self-publishing, and they're making the game free to play, which I'm normally skeptical of, but they've done it in a really good way, I think. So the way it is now is that all old content is going to be free to play, and you just have to pay for new content. If you don't want to pay, you wait. And I think that's a good model, and just they've made a lot of really good pro-consumer decisions and a lot of really good like pro-player decisions. And I just want to wish everyone at the team the best if they by chance listen to it. And if you're unfamiliar with Destiny, it's been one of my favorite games of all time. It's been just very important to me. It's a phenomenal experience. And it was just really nice to see them making those kind of moves, because I've been playing lately because A, our college internet does not like online games, and B, like my friends haven't been as into it because they made some bad choices, or Activision made some bad choices, I don't know what. But so I just wanted to say, like, from the bottom of my heart, best of luck and thank you to Bungie, because it was really meaningful for me, because they did a lot of, they're doing some fantastic things. So yeah, we'll put a link to they made like a video doc. We'll throw a link down in the show notes, so feel free to watch it. And that's about my time on discussion. Anyone else? What about you?
So, let me see. Where do we start? So last weekend, whenever Booled with the boys, got that out of the way. I don't actually remember if I did anything significant last weekend. My mother left to go on to a vacation to go visit family out of state. So she's been gone all week. She's actually coming back later today.
Okay. So at home, is it just
Sunday?
Is it just you, your brother, and your dad?
Yes.
Okay.
And let's see. On Sunday, we went down to Lowe's to go get some galvanized steel pipes. And what we're going to do with those is use them as car carrier racks. So we're going to mount them on my brother's truck, and we're going to haul kayaks with them, because on next Saturday, we're going to make a kayak trip that's unlike ones we usually do. So my dad won't be going. It'll just be me, my brother, and a few of his coworkers. And that's the reason why we had to get more racks, is because we already had some racks, but we usually also pair it with a pickup truck, but we don't have my dad's pickup truck there.
Okay.
So, and my brother's truck, the bed of it is a little too small to hold 4 full kayaks. So
you're racking it up.
That's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to that. That's actually not next Saturday. That's Sunday.
Okay. That seems fun.
Yeah. And then, Monday, I had my second Calc 3 class, and I've reverted to taking my notes in a notebook, because I've been having issues with my pen tracking on my laptop, which is a little annoying, and I don't feel like spending the money to figure out what the problem is. So honestly, I'm just going to take paper notes from now on.
Okay.
But I had an interesting debacle with some pins. So my absolute favorite pins are the I don't know what Alavi always makes fun of me when I say it. He says tool. The tool gel pens. It's just TUL. I don't know. And the only place that you can buy them in stores around here is Office Max and Office Depot.
Yeah, I think it's a proprietary brand.
I like the 0.5 millimeter ones, and when I take my notes, I like to have assorted colors. And I already had a few of the 0.5 millimeter fine black pens, but I wanted other colors. So I went down to Office Max and I picked up I was looking and I saw like a few assorted color packs. There was just like way too many pens there, and they were way too expensive, and I can't afford this right now. So I'm like, okay, I'll get this pack of blue ones, and I'll maybe like convince my dad to split it with me. So I asked my dad if he wanted to split it with me, and I said it would be like $4 or so. So he just hands me a 10. I'm like, well, okay, just have the whole pack then, because at this point I'd already been on eBay and I found what I wanted on there. So for about the same price as I can get them at Office Max for 4-pack, I got a 4-pack of the actual assorted colors. So now I got the package in the mail today of these ones. They're actually needlepoint, which is better, honestly, than the regular point. But I got the blue, purple, red, and green that I can pair with my black ones that I already have.
Nice.
So that's good.
I got a pack of G2s like that a while ago.
But
tools are nice, but like...
Oh, I finally convinced my mom to get some G2s for the downstairs, because we have this pen jar that's just
of course,
full of terrible
every
pens.
House has the pen jar. Every house has it.
So I finally convinced her to get rid of a lot of the really bad pens and just fill it with Pilot
It's like,
G2s.
like hotel pens, like something you find at a coffee shop, something you find on the floor. Every house has the shitty pen jar.
Whenever you buy like a stupid contracted product or whatever
they throw in a
service, and they
free
give you a
pen.
pen.
Or like the pencil you get like from a golf course or something. Like if you ever play golf, you get a golf pencil. Maybe something that comes with some IKEA furniture.
We had some really old mechanical pencils that were just
Of
garbage.
course. Maybe like, I don't know, you got a coloring book. Like, you went to a restaurant when you were a kid, got some crayons. Like those were in there.
It's too true. Oh my
Every
god.
house has the pen cup. I don't care. I don't care how rich you are. You have the pen
You
cup.
have the pen cup.
It's the Honda Civic of household items.
It really is.
My channel has suddenly shifted. Okay, never mind. For a second, like, my audio channel just kind of went out of sync, and my left channel became much louder. That was odd.
Hopefully that doesn't become a problem.
It was only for a second, so we always just like...
But Pilot G2s are nice.
Yeah,
and
they
I
are
would
nice.
recommend them to someone that's looking for a nice, affordable, really good
I think
pen.
they're very good value. They're very good
I personally
value.
find that the tool pens are smoother.
That's fair. I think they are. It's just like, I feel like Pilot G2s just have the most value. And like, I always go
Yeah,
for value.
they do. But just for that added little benefit,
Yeah,
I'm
of
going to go
course.
for smooth as well.
Smooth.
I heard that.
I wanted you to hear it.
Barely heard it, but I did.
Smooth.
All right, so moving right along. I for my class on Monday and Wednesday, I guess, 3 hours. That was fun. Anyway, I paired together some Pilot G2s to make up for the gap, but I've been taking some beautiful paper notes, and honestly, I'm fine with it. It's really not that much worse than my digital notes.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I like paper notes, so like, I'm all for it.
I know most people actually prefer paper notes. The only reason I like digital notes is because, say I don't have my laptop with me and I have my phone with me, I can still just go to the OneNote app, pull it right up, there they are.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I feel like for me personally, like even when I write on screens, like I use my mom's iPad Pro sometimes. She has an Apple Pencil, and like it just doesn't feel the same as writing on paper. Like I like the feeling of writing on paper with a good pen.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah.
I just had to force myself to get used to it. And
no,
then I did.
I totally get it. It's just not something for me. And also, just sudden update. I just got a text in my group chat. It's called Bean Guys from my good friend Chuck, spelled with 2 C's, who just said, "Y'all don't know it, but tactical EMT Chuck is on the rise. So get ready for that, everyone. Just
Ooh,
be
I'm
ready."
gonna have to prepare.
Tactical
for
EMT
whatever that
Chuck.
means.
It's all capital EMT. Maybe he's becoming an emergency medical technician.
Maybe.
Cool. But yeah, just prepare. Also, quick question: are the Moon Men joining you on your kayak trip?
If our brother counts as a moon man, then perhaps.
I mean, from what I have, what's the Moon Men like opinion on water? Are they good swimmers? Alex is I think is the ambassador of the Moon Men.
Well, no, that's going to be a learning curve, as there is not water on the moon. So.
Fair, yeah, that is true. I'm assuming they're probably not the most water people.
So they're not very used to it. Yeah.
I mean, if you guys have any questions for the Moon Men, you can hit us up on Instagram or tweet us at Sleepdrunkpc, and we will
Yes,
convey your
definitely do
questions to
that.
the Moon Men. Yeah, it's open lines, Q&A with the Moon Men. It's happening. You just hit us up.
Via proxy, though, because they're sensitive.
Yes, of course, they're sensitive. Like they care about their identity, they care about their privacy, and I respect that. Yeah.
Of course. So, went back to work for the first time on Tuesday, and that was fun. I met the new the new general manager at my restaurant, none other than Chuck.
Hey.
Wait, I gotta pronounce it a little more. Chuck.
Man, what if EMT stands for like eat more turkey or something? Like, does your restaurant have more turkey on the menu?
We don't have turkey. Never had turkey.
Oh, okay, that's unfortunate. Because EMT could have been eat more turkey, and he's the general manager. It all comes together.
But, he's an interesting fellow. He's a little more strict than the other managers, but he also tries to be likable and still violates some of the rules that are technically rules that like no one ever cares about, like swearing in the dining room or whatever, like around customers, basically.
Is it a Christian dining room?
So no, it's not a good Christian dining room.
It's unfortunate.
But he's just like really sarcastic and everything. And then also, the first time I worked with him was the first time I've ever heard a manager even mention OSHA before.
I feel like that's
So-
something they should mention.
I knew that you would say that of all people. Yes, but like no one
Yeah, it's
cares
one
and
of the things where,
everyone
like,
gets that it's like okay,
I
but
just feel
it's
like
also
it'd
not
just
that
be
big
like
of a deal.
passing thing they
Here's
would
why.
mention every now and then
Someone
because it's
went
their
walking
job.
in the kitchen, and I've done this myself numerous times. Someone went walking in the kitchen or the server alley back area, basically, without non-slip shoes on because they were off the clock. And then he started ranting about that's an OSHA
Okay,
violation.
that's a bit much. I would have been like, hey, come on,
Yes.
OSHA. But like, that's a bit much.
So, yeah, that was interesting.
Wait, what
and-
classifies as a non-slip shoe? Is just like a sneaker or like a dining room?
No, they're
shoe?
like special restaurant shoes
Okay,
with a grip pattern on the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a pair. They're really ratty. I've had them for almost 2 years.
Oof.
Yeah.
No, what you could do is
Honestly,
put a
they don't
Supreme
look-
sticker on them and sell them for a large amount of money.
I could do that. Supreme restaurant shoes. I feel like if I walked in with that, I would get sent home immediately. But I worked again last night, and I was closing both nights. And for Tuesday, I got off 9-ish, 9:30ish. Yeah, 9:30.
Okay.
And that's not very bad for a Tuesday. We actually
that's
didn't
pretty
even get on
reasonable.
a wait at all. We almost did. When we did for the outside, like the patio, because it was very nice here on Tuesday. But last night, oh my god. So as soon as I got there, I spoke with the other hosts, and she and I decided that I would be the coordinator, which means that you stand at the front, greet everyone, and like decide who gets what tables and all that. And then there's like the coordinator and the seater usually, and the seater just brings them to their tables. And then they've started a new thing where like they just kind of don't give us a server back, which is the other term, the proper term for busboy.
Mm-hmm.
So the hosts just kind of have to figure out just whenever they have time to go bus tables and clean them.
Huh.
So that's always fun. You don't have a dedicated person, but it does mean that you make more money because you don't have to share your tips with that. The pay in a restaurant is so weird. It's honestly really stupid, but whatever. But Thursday, I get there, I'm coordinating. About 15 minutes after I took my position, the restaurant is full, and I have to start going to the wait list. I put somebody on the wait list, and then without realizing it, I come back and I see that they're gone. So I'm like, okay, Hannah probably seated them already. Well, they come back, I don't know, maybe twice the time that I quoted them later, and said, where's my, or like, how long is it going to be? And I'm like, oh, that's an issue. So what had happened was the app that we use on the iPad up front to keep track of the wait list had just completely broken, and everything
Oh.
that you put on the wait list disappears.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So I go and ask my manager about it, and he's just like, here's my iPhone, here's my passcode, the Yelp app's on the home screen there. Go there and then log in, and then you can see the wait list and add people to it. Except it's like terrible. Like the table layout is just, I don't know who came up with this. So basically on the iPad, there's a very specific, like the tables are arranged like the restaurant is arranged.
As it
that
should
makes
be.
sense. On the iPhone, there's just like a giant list of tables. So every time you want to assign someone to a table to keep track of, what tables are seated, you have to scroll through the giant list of tables and find them. And they're just numbers. They're not like intuitive or anything.
That's awful.
And I dealt with that until the wait had pretty much ended. And then I just like fooled around with the tablet when I had some extra time and found out how to fix the app, which annoyed me even more, honestly, but whatever.
Wow, that sounds awful.
Yeah, but that was a whole kicking night right there.
I'm sure it was. That sounds terrible. Did anyone ask to see your manager when that happened?
Somebody did, but it wasn't for that reason. Like my manager commended me for holding it together really well.
That's fair.
But
Good on you.
what happened for one group is that these two women just kind of stole somebody's place in line for a 5-top. And naturally the 5-top wasn't happy about that. But when I explained to them why, they were sort of settled, and I told them that I could get them the next available, and then they went up and found a manager naturally, and I think they were just trying to get free, but I don't think they did.
I feel like that's why people ask the managers, because saying I want to see your manager is, hey, give me free.
I want free.
Yeah, but that's just what it means.
That's just how people work.
Yes, it is. It is.
But that was fun, and now here we are recording the podcast.
Yes, and it's roughly the morning there where you are, right?
It's early afternoon.
Okay.
It's 1:03.
Oh, 1:03. All right, cool. So I think with that, let's call discussion avenue to a close and move on to our next segment. Alex, what is it? Would you like to intro it?
So yes, this is the Sleepdrunk bucket list. So we're going to talk about a few things that we'd like to manage to get done before we die, because we're all going to die. It's inevitable.
Die.
Death is inevitable.
The Reaper will come.
Yes.
And actually,
you will die too.
Yes, you will die. We will all die.
Mark my words.
Yeah. Unless you're like, I don't know, an angel or something listening to this, then I don't know
unless
how
you're
it
like
works.
God or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Actually, hold up. I actually wrote
pretty
my
cool,
list
though,
down.
low key, if we have God listen to our podcast.
That'd be pretty great. If you are, just kind of like hit us up with some. If you want, you come and be a guest interview. God, we really appreciate it. You can tell us all about what it's like.
Awesome, dude.
Yes, and also
We'd be glad to have you on.
Make us the #1 podcast in the world. We'd appreciate that if you enjoy it, or maybe just follow us on Instagram. God, we'd appreciate that.
We can make that the title as well. We interview God.
There's a show on a network. It's called God Followed Me, about this atheist who gets followed.
I saw that. It was NBC.
Yeah.
It just sounds like the typical horrible NBC drama idea.
Is it on NBC? I thought it was something else. I thought it was
Pretty sure it's
TNT or
NBC.
something. It's. I saw an episode. It's actually not as bad as it seems. It's okay. It's not great.
Let me see what network it was on. Oh, it was CBS.
Yeah, something with this. I think it wasn't.
I don't know.
And actually, before we
A
get
lot of those networks just always have terrible dramas.
absolutely. So before we get started, I'm actually going to go grab a
Oh, it was
book.
God Friended Me. There we go.
Oh. Well, I'm going to grab, I actually wrote my bucket list down in what Michael, my roommate, likes to call the Book of Secrets. So I'm actually going to grab that. Give me a second, because if I get something a bit significant, I want to write it in the Book of Secrets. So I'll return momentarily.
Uh-oh. What? I wasn't listening to that last bit, but I just let it process while you were gone.
I just have my list with me in front of me. It's on paper this time. So
I'm gonna confess, and I know this is really gonna annoy you because you put time and effort into the notes. I haven't actually come up with a concrete list of things, but
honestly, that's fine.
I sort of have in my head. I don't know. I'm just gonna make them up on the spot, to be honest.
Here's the thing. I feel like honestly that's better, just more organic. And I have a question before we get started. So, is your bucket list something you want to fully complete? I know it seems like a dumb
yes,
question.
Because the way I'm just a realist. I am a very real person, and I don't have far-fetched ideas. I have things that I know that I could complete, that I definitely want to at least make a good shot at.
Okay. See, for me, my philosophy on the bucket list is that I want to have enough stuff where I won't actually be able to complete it, because that way I'll have something to do until I die, and I won't be bored. So that's my philosophy around it. So to that extent, there's a lot of smaller stuff, and so I just think of it in such a way where I just don't I always have something to do until I die, and I want that. So yeah, it's not something I want to there's stuff that I really want to get done. There are priorities, but overall, I'd like to think of the list as infinitely long.
I definitely took this a different way, and I knew exactly how you would take it, and I knew that I could take it that way. But I feel like I just wanted to include this as well,
okay?
Because this is something that's very personal to me. So I did compile my own notes. I didn't put them in the regular show notes. It's actually just in a sticky note on my desktop here, but. Do you want to go over yours first, and then I'll go over all this? One just
go trade off. You do one, I do one
later. Well, that's not really how I had mine compiled.
All right, fine. I'll just do mine all at once.
Okay.
Okay. So I picked 5 points because I have a structured way of doing this. My first one is.
Wow, I feel like that was a shot.
It was. It was. I'm an honest man.
You're a bully. I'm gonna go tell my mom when she gets home.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna tell the teacher and say that you didn't do your homework.
Like I did.
Okay, well, you didn't follow the specific aspect. Like, you didn't, like, when you're doing your math, you didn't put the little train tracks on the equal sign, and that's a problem. Did you have the train tracks?
What?
Okay, no, when we were learning, like, when we were doing math in elementary school, we'd have to, like, draw lines down from the equal sign so we know what's on what side. And so we call them the train tracks, and you get in trouble if you didn't use the train tracks.
This is what is wrong with the American education system.
Speaking of America and other countries, the first one I put is that this one's very vague, but I want to experience the world. Not necessarily travel, but experience. Because...
What do you mean by that?
So, by that, I mean, like, it involves travel, but more than... I want to, go to places that wouldn't be the conventional place you would go, and when I do go to those places, get it at a more than surface level. Like, really get a understanding of the place, understanding of the culture, and understanding of the people. Like, I have
That's definitely a goal of mine as well. Not necessarily a bucket list thing, but, like, when I travel, I try not to be a tourist, and I try to actually experience the culture.
Yeah. Like, I want to, like, really go there. I want to go to places that people wouldn't normally go to. Like, I want to go to, like, the rougher places, the places that don't make nice postcards, because that's where humanity is. That's where we are as people. And I feel like by experiencing the world, I learn more about who I am as a person and what humankind is like. So I have a list of places, no particular order. It's pretty long. They're just regions, like cities, countries. Let's see: Tokyo, Sao Paulo, Oaxaca, Seoul, Shanghai, London, Berlin, Paris, Rome, Johannesburg, Sydney, Kampala. Somewhere in Southeast Asia, I'm not sure yet, but probably Thailand, like Bangkok. I want to go to Antarctica, actually. Like, I actually really do want to go to Antarctica because it's cheaper than people think. And Havana. So, like, that's all a general guideline. I don't think I'll hit all of those in my lifetime. I'd like to, but that's just something I want to try doing. I want to really live and see the whole planet.
Genuinely, I wish you the best of luck with that, because that sounds awesome.
Yeah. And particularly Havana. Like, I really want to go to Cuba. Which I know for Americans is like, oh...
Might be better to do sooner than later because of the travel restrictions that I hear they're going to start imposing.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm going to try. That's just more of like, right now I can't afford it. Like, lots of this stuff is in the future. But,
yeah,
like, just because, like...
Maybe later they'll open it up, I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully
communism
within 10
will die
years,
finally.
things, like, within 10, 15 years, things will be different. But, like, it's because for the rest of the world, going to Cuba is a pretty normal thing. It's just for, like, Americans, it's annoying. But for everyone else, it's just like, just go to Cuba. It's not that big a deal.
Dual citizenship.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I was considering applying for dual citizenship with Bangladesh, but I may or may not work in the government of the US, so that could be a problem.
Ooh, yeah, that could be.
So that's my first one. I want to experience the world. My second one is I want to purchase a car that I'm not just content with. Like, I have a car now. I love my car. It's a 2014 Volkswagen Passat in white. I love it. And my parents got it for me, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. But I want to get a car that is something that takes something where I won't have to make any big compromises. And this is something that's, like, for me, very far in the future. This is like, if I get a nice, successful career, this is something I would do.
You're 50 at this point.
Yeah. And for me, I have what I have to call my 3 Fs for the car. It has to be functional, fun, and fly. And I know fly is a terrible word. I was going to use stylish, but I wanted to have 3 Fs, and fly was the closest synonym to stylish on thesaurus.com. So... yeah, I want to have I feel like for all those, functional is pretty self-explanatory. If I have a car, I want to use it. Like, I'm not going to buy, like... Okay, I mean, if I have the money to, one day
so your
I
car
would,
has
but,
to
like,
pay all the respects.
I'm not just going to buy, like, a Lamborghini. Or, like I'm not going to pick up an Aventador because that's not functional. Like, I can't use that. Like, I can't do groceries in it. I can't drive it that much. Like, sure, it's very, very fun on a track.
So what you want is a saloon.
Yeah, like an M3.
You want an M3.
Like an M3 would be a good option. Or just, like, it doesn't have to be like a high-end car. It doesn't have to be a luxury car. It could just be like
because, like,
a
everybody
very
sees
nice
that M3 badge
car.
and they're like, oh shit, and then you roll up in the kids' drop line to pick them up.
Yeah.
They can get in easily, but you're still in an M3.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and also it has that styling, that German engineering. I like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that's important for me. I just want to have a car that I'm not just content with that. I really love. And, like, I know for my dad, he ticked off that box, but he was in his mid-50s. And so I well expect this is going to be something for me in the future. This is not a now goal. So my next one, which is also me just buying expensive shit, but there's also a reason for this. My bucket list is very expensive. No, this one I actually have a lot of significance for. I want to purchase an Omega Seamaster. It's a type of watch, and the reason I want to purchase it specifically is because my grandfather wore one until it was stolen. And I've tried to model a lot of things in my life after my grandfather because I look up to him. Like, he's not in a great state now because he had a stroke, but in his prime, he was like the epitome of like a modern gentleman. Like, he was in the military. He served in 3 different national militaries. And like he was always a clean cut, well spoken, well read, smart, just great guy. And I aspire to be like that. And he wore an Omega Seamaster. And so it's like, in a way, I know he doesn't have a ton of time left. So it's just a connection from me to him, even after he passes, just having something like that, something that he wore. So that's why I want an Omega Seamaster specifically. And also, Rolexes are overrated, in my opinion, just as a watch guy. They're nice, but you can do better.
But like, it's all about the name, yeah.
Yeah, no, a lot of it is the name, but also like...
Oh, yeah, you got a Rolex? No, oh my god, who are you?
Yeah, and like... The weird thing is, I know some people that will like talk down an Audemars Piguet but talk up a Rolex when an AP costs 3 times as much.
Because they don't know anything else. Just like they hear Rolex and they're like, ooh, I got a Woody.
I got a iced out Rolly on my wrist, yeah. Lean in my cup, poppin' Zans. We lit, yeah. I'm gonna die a
People
lot
like that
sooner.
have no epitome of style. Change my mind. Don't at me. Or do. At Sleepdrunk PC.
Yes, whatever you do at Sleepdrunk PC. Don't add us at Sleepdrunk PC. So my next one.
Yeah, don't do it. I dare you.
My next one's also an expensive thing. God damn it.
Oh my god.
Okay, this one's also important. Okay, this one isn't necessarily as expensive. Like, I want to own a Selmer Mark 6 saxophone. They're if you're a saxophone person, you
Also
get it.
fair. It's a cultured thing to do.
And also just like, I love playing the saxophone. It's one of my like true passions in life.
It's your
And like to play a Mark 6 is one of the most sublime experiences you can have. Like, a Mark 6
You really
is a
did
very
just go
special.
there.
No, it's your thing. Because here's the thing. Every single Mark 6 is different. Because they're not made anymore. They were made in the 50s and 60s. There's like there's actually a reasonable quantity out there. You can get them for under $10,000, which all things considered, compared to like a car or an
I
Omega.
think I might go get one tomorrow.
For saxophones, it's on the high end, but that's still like, I feel like something I could attain if I saved a bunch within the next few years. Within like next 5-10 years, if I saved a bunch, I feel like I could get one. But it's like, they're all unique in their own way. Every single one has a story. Like, other people have played that. It has performed gigs. It has done so many things. And like, something I'd like to hold. And also, like, lots of times you can get them like through other means. Like, you can do trades or whatever. And like, that's why I say own, not necessarily buy. Or at the very least play. At the very least, I like to play one. Because it's a magical thing. And then my last one is not something I'm buying. It's actually me doing something that
Crazy.
wouldn't be super expensive. I want to write a book. I really like writing. And even if I don't get it published, I've always dreamed of writing a book. And so one day I want to do that.
I feel like that's something you could realistically do, because from what I've seen, you're a very good writer.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been called a good writer. I love writing, and so I would love to write a book. But yeah, that is the sleep. And honorable mentions, they're going to be quick. I want to own a house at some point. I want to get married. I want to have a cat and multiple ferrets, and I want to go on Hajj.
Yeah, see, the latter end of your bucket list is more of the sort of practical things that I think.
Yeah.
Like I don't think big.
Guess what? Mine is intentionally super aspirational.
That sounds
I know
bad,
I probably
but
won't complete it. It is super aspirational.
I feel like I should probably go over my other thing to preface my bucket list.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So the other night, I guess this was Tuesday night. Wait, yeah, because today's the 7th, so this was Wednesday night. So Wednesday night, I was just sitting here like late. Everyone in my house had already gone to bed, and I was just chilling here at my desk, and I was just like thinking, because I actually had, funnily enough, I had wrote this down in my to-do list to just sit down and think about this, because recently in the past few years, I have not gone to anyone about it. I don't have a diagnosis, so it's just kind of coming out of my head. But I've been putting up with, it's sometimes some depression, and I really don't know how to word this. I guess I wanted to do something about it. Like, okay. I wanted to find meaning and what happiness was to me, because I feel like it's important to do that, because without that, what are we really doing here? Because I sat down and thought about it. Like, what is our purpose other than to just enjoy our time here?
Huh.
Because there isn't really anything else. I mean, I guess you can say that if you help other people, that's great for the other people. But say, and generally I align with Christian ideals, and this is going to get a bit, I guess, religious as well. But say that there is nothing after we're gone, right? Then what was everything for? So, yes, you helped out other people, but then there's no sense of conscience after you're gone. There's just nothing. So I feel like it's important to, just enjoy your time here, but also to do so without hurting other people or, getting in the way of other people. So it's still following the don't be a dick general rule.
Yes.
And I feel like it's important to define what meaning is to you so that you can pursue that and be happy and feel fulfilled with your life. And going from that onto my bucket list, that's just me trying to scrunch down this stupid thought train that I just was sat here.
I think it's fine. Like, honestly, I think it's good. I've had those thoughts before myself. I think it's a good thing to think about. It also makes you sound like a white person that I'd seen in the Delhi airport wearing very baggy pants that seems just slightly unwashed.
I would like to correct you and say that I've been doing an average of 1.5 showers per day.
Good on you.
The past week.
Good on you. And it's not that they aren't unwashed, it gives the appearence of being unwashed. Like, if you want to roll with dreadlocks, it's your call. Washed. But like, I haven't seen you in a little while, but I'll assume you do. I'll take your word for it. We get a lot of, like, for lack of a better word, hippies in the Delhi airport.
No, I'm not a hippie, but
yeah, I'm well aware.
This also wasn't induced by any sort of drug, so
good to know. Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, don't. Also, no, I can't go there. This is just way too much BS. So my bucket list is just things that I want to accomplish in life to make it
worth it.
To fulfill my wants. So I have never been content with more of the city lifestyle or urban lifestyle, and I really don't want to have to live in the suburbs because that's just, I hate the suburban American dream, like, ideal of living in a 2-story house with your family in a minivan and
2.5 kids and a dog.
I just hate that. I don't want to live that. Like, maybe I'll have a family. I don't know. I haven't even decided if I want to have kids. And I hear that changes drastically in your life. So maybe it'll change for me as well. But I don't want to do that. I want to live out of the ordinary. Not because it's the ordinary, just because I think that it sounds boring. Like, I feel like I would feel unfulfilled.
Oh no, I totally get that. I totally get that. That's why I want to be a bit of a globetrotter at the same sense. Like, I totally understand that. Like, I don't want to live in a suburban hell either. I did for a little while. Yeah. It was enjoyable, but it's like, for the 6 years I lived in, like, true suburbia, I have a handful of legitimate memories.
So I want to live the kind of life that I've always envisioned, and I know that it isn't exactly the most realistic thing. Like, I live in what's called an exurban area, which is further out from the suburbs, and, like, in my county there are, like, plenty of rural areas. Like, you can go and see roads where the neighbors are a mile apart. And I want to live in an area like that, or even perhaps more rural, or at least own property there. And that's my other thing. I want to own a lot of at least 10 acres for a substantial portion of my life.
Okay.
Because I like having my own free space, and I like nature. So honestly, I have no idea where I'll end up. I believe I'll stay in this country, but I've contemplated pretty much every major region, and I really don't know. Honestly, there's a good chance I'll stay in the state. I've thought about Colorado before. At one point, I was thinking about Texas.
I don't know. You're a huge fan of Montana.
Montana's great, but I don't think I'd want to live there because it would get really difficult and cold.
Fair.
In the winters. It's a beautiful state, and I would recommend traveling there as long as you're the type of person that isn't really the tourist type.
Yeah.
Because if you go there, there isn't much for you. If that's what you're all about, you want to go stay at the hotel and see all the things that everyone else sees.
There's no Eiffel Tower or Washington Monument. It's like nature, I believe.
And also, don't be the kind of person that disrespects nature, because the people out there take nature personally. Very personally.
Just don't be like that person in general. Don't do that in general.
It gets a little overbearing at sometimes. It's not portions. Especially in the fishing area. Like, if you go out there without a fly reel, there will be people that actually start like trying to ridicule you, and you just want to hit them sometimes. But just respect nature.
Yeah.
For what that's worth. And I guess that means a different thing to everyone. But that's going way off track here. But what I've always thought is perhaps I could live a life where, like, maybe I have an apartment in the city, because I don't think I'm in an engineering field. I don't know how I would be able to do that, and live in the kind of area where I'd want to.
That's a very much like urban density type of employment.
Yeah, they don't really jive. So maybe I'd have like a weekend home or something.
Yeah,
where
like
I
a
could
summer
just go
home.
escape from it all. And that would be wonderful. We'll see.
I have a friend of mine does this, where they have a lake house out a ways out. I think it's like the next state over. It's in a really nice open area on a lake, and they lease it out as a vacation rental for most of the year. And then when they want to use it, they just go out and enjoy it. So that could also be an option. Just spitballing.
It could be, but I feel like I'd want to use it more.
That's fair.
Like, maybe
That's
if I owned a house at the beach, I might do that. But I would want to use it very frequently, because the city just gives me anxiety. I don't know. I want to leave. I just want to go be in the middle of nowhere by myself.
You want to be
Sometimes
one with
I'm introverted in that way.
nature, man. You want to like feel the trees and like the energy, the cosmic gyrations of nature.
An interpretation of someone on LSD or hippie.
Or both.
Or both, yes.
Very much
but
could
probably
be both.
Not,
there is
because
overlap
hippies don't
there.
really do LSD.
There is
do
overlap.
Marijuana.
Yes. I mean, there's a person who I know. Yeah. There's a person I know who did describe his experience on LSD and talked about how he became one with the amphibian dimension. So I've
actually spoken to someone that has done LSD as well, and he said that I don't ever plan on doing it myself, but it's interesting what he says. He says that you sort of just like, I forget how he worded it. It's like while you're on it, it's weird. Like you feel colors or hear colors and just stupid like that. And, everything's just wonky. But then once you get off it, you just feel okay with everything. Like everything is at peace with you. And then you're just like that for a while.
See, from what I've heard, it's like things that like basically hallucinations, like things you imagine become like, even if you know they're not real, they become real like in that moment. From what I've heard. But yeah.
We're not recommending this.
Yes,
I don't plan on it myself.
Do not advocate the
we're
consumption of drugs
ideals.
unless you are in a place where it is legal and you are of the legal age. In which case, you do you. But
yes.
Yeah, we do not advocate any bad things. Remember, kids, stay in school, go to church, don't say the H word. It's
or the
hack.
F word.
It's hack.
The FR word.
Yeah. Don't say the FR word. Don't say HECK. It's Be good boys and good girls and good others. It's 2018. 2019 actually. It's 2019. Until recently, my brother thought it was still 2018. I told him it was 2019. And he was like he knew it was 2019, but he didn't like he knew it like he didn't feel it like. He didn't comprehend that it was 2019. Okay. Apparently on his final exams, he wrote 2018 on a bunch of them.
Oof.
Yeah.
I've done that before, but usually like in January.
Yeah. But it's not. It's July or June.
Speaking of this, in a Reddit post I was reading, people were talking about LSD and shrooms. Well, it was a futurology post about how magic mushrooms have been decriminalized in another state besides Colorado.
Really? Which one?
I don't remember. But and I was reading the comments, because a lot of times the comments are better than the post itself. And somebody was describing, a lot of people were describing and actually agreeing on what it feels like to be on magic mushrooms. And people were talking about LSD and what it feels like to be on LSD. And a lot of people were saying that like they're both similar, but when you take LSD, or I forget what the other one they were talking about was, you sort of like control your journey, you know, for the most part. You can just, you it's like hopping in a car and you're getting on your trip, you know, and you're going where you want to. Whereas taking magic mushrooms is sort of like getting in a random Uber and then just going wherever the driver takes you. But taking you is sort of a way for, or like a euphemism for issues that you need to deal with in your life. So like if you avoid certain issues, you can do that on LSD. But if you're on magic mushrooms,
it shows it to you.
And this is all just according to this post, and I could just be spewing from my head. I don't know. The Uber driver generally tends to take you where you need to be, and lets you settle things that you need to settle.
See, I thought
that was interesting.
Yeah, I heard from a Vice documentary about a man named Bob that makes DMT, that is also what DMT does, but it's like just more intense.
Weird.
It's psychedelics. They're interesting. I feel like from a scientific and just from like a philosophical perspective, they're interesting.
Definitely interesting.
Don't do them.
But not something I'd recommend.
Yeah, we do not advocate their usage unless it's legal. If it is, go ahead. But according to Bob, the DMT maker...
That's up to you. I'm not going to say I advocate it. I'm just going to say that's up to you.
But according to Bob, the DMT maker, who's also a high school chemistry teacher and has a protege named Ishtar, DMT will show you what you need to see. Yeah. Bob the DMT guy. We'll put a link to the Vice documentary in the show notes.
All right.
That's going on my note of show note inclusions.
And then other than that, it's all stuff that would, I don't even know that I should bother trying to come up with other things, but it's just all stuff that plays into that. Like I just want to feel fulfilled and live a happy lifestyle.
Okay. I think that's what we all want, really. And however we see happiness, that manifests differently for all of us.
Definitely. Yeah, so thank you for listening to this episode of Sleep Drunk. Remember that the first person to guess the song of the day on any of our social media or via email will get a shout out in the next episode. The song of the day for episode 15 was... so that's another story. So,
give us a brief. We'll talk about this more in depth later.
Sportin' a Woody by Dangerous Toys.
For what it's worth, their guitarist has got skills. They have a skilled guitarist.
So basically, my trashy neighbors that I mentioned in the last episode were just blaring this so loud that you could hear it for half a mile away from their house. And yeah, and they do this frequently. Like the other day, I was just trying to sit on my porch and enjoy myself, and then somebody was looping the same AC/DC album over and over again. So yeah.
Sounds fun.
And we already mentioned sharing the show, but to share the show with people that would enjoy, friends, family, coworkers, anyone.
Yep. Give us a rating on Apple Podcasts. And on the top of Apple Podcasts, the Sleep Drunk Podcast can be found on any of your favorite podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. We'll catch you next week.